Good afternoon to everyone. Sheena, am I audible? Sheena, am I audible to you?
Yes, Father, you are very much audible.
Thank you.
Yes.
कहाँ गए खंडाई साहब? हेलो हेलो
हेलो, आप सुन पा रहे हैं मैम? आप
हेलो
जी सर, ज्वाइन हो गए।
हाँ, खंडाई साहब आ गए ना लाइन पे?
नहीं
हेलो,
Yes.
I'm audible?
Yes, sir. So we are most happy to have you on board. Thank you so much, sir. We'll be starting sharply.
May I wait or start something?
Yes, sir. So we'll be introducing you and then we'll begin.
Okay, please carry on.
Yes.
Sir, good afternoon to you.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. Bhopal sir, कैसे हैं?
बढ़िया हूँ, sir.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming and joining here.
Yeah.
The growth and development of people is the highest calling of leadership. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Adrija Goswami, a third semester B.Ed student and the president of Edu Club of the BSS College. I welcome all the developing researchers to this faculty development program, which is amazingly enlightening, organized by the Department of Education, by the Bhopal School of Social Sciences, and in collaboration with HRDC and the Department of Continuing Education, Barkatullah University, Bhopal. I am delighted to announce that we have received registrations from over 11 states. This 7-day program widely focuses on quantitative and qualitative researches and analysis. Before moving forward, let me take the opportunity and introduce the Bhopal School of Social Sciences to you.
इधर से होना चाहिए.
The Bhopal School of Social Sciences was envisioned and established in 1972 by the founding chairman of the college, the then Archbishop of Bhopal, Dr. Eugene D'Souza, with a focus on social service and entrepreneurship. BSS has evolved into one of the leading educational institutes of Madhya Pradesh, shaping the educational landscape of the state. Initially known for its social sciences and management courses, BSS presently offers a range of UG and PG campus programs in commerce, computer application, and science, which include MBA, BBA, BCA, BSc, and MSc. All the graduated students of the college are well placed in responsible roles in reputed organizations across the country. Coming to the Education Department, the Department of Education, BSS, has been
कुछ
conceived
प्रॉब्लम
in
हो रहा
the
है क्या?
year 2009
कुछ
and its
प्रॉब्लम
function
आवाज नहीं आ रहा है कुछ
thereafter with the aim
Hello?
of bringing about quality teaching
कुछ
as an
प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है
element
क्या?
in
चालू
the
क्यों नहीं हो
future.
रहा है?
The department has been instrumental in spearheading quality teaching in the city of Lakes. The degree course of B.Ed is designed and is according to the norms and regulations of NCTE in affiliation to the Barkatullah University. Barkatullah University, formerly known as Bhopal University, was established in 1970 in the capital city of Madhya Pradesh and rechristened in 1988 as Barkatullah University. In the living memory of
बोला ना, आवाज नहीं आ
the
रहा है।
freedom fighter, Professor Barkatullah, who belonged to Bhopal,
बोला ना वो पागल कहाँ चल
the university has been accredited B grade by NAC in 2015.
वो निकल गया क्या?
The university covers almost full spectrum of
sound
high education, offering courses in its affiliated colleges and university, teaching departments in faculties of arts, social science, science, life science, engineering, law, commerce, education, physical education, technology, home science, and management. With that, I would like to begin this program by welcoming our principal to come for the welcome speech.
Thank you so much, Adrija Goswami, for your introduction and welcome. Honorable Professor Suresh Kumar Jain, Vice Chancellor, Barkatullah University, Bhopal. Professor Hemant Kandai, Head Department of Continuing Education, Barkatullah University. Honorable resource persons and all the participants. I'm glad today to welcome you all to this collaborative effort from the Department of Education, DSSS, and HRDC and Department of Continuing Education, Barkatullah University, Bhopal. FDP is an indispensable part of higher education and educational requirements. So therefore, we need to train our teachers, develop their abilities, talents, initiatives from time to time, conducting programs like this. When we were planning to have a program, we readily approached our mother university, Barkatullah Bhopal, and the Department of Continuing Education was kind enough to handhold with us to conduct this FDP program, for which I am highly obliged and grateful to the Barkatullah University, Bhopal. My duty today is just to welcome our honorable guests, and we are especially happy, Sir Professor Suresh Kumar Jain ji, for your presence with us and for having taken out so much of time from your busy schedule. We welcome you for your inaugural address, as I also welcome our Professor Hemant Kandai, who is also the head of the Department of Continuing Education, Barkatullah University, to this program. We are extremely happy for obliging and joining us for this FDP along with the HRDC. I honestly and wholeheartedly welcome our resource persons because they will make the coming days meaningful and fruitful. And therefore, your inputs, your expertise, and your vision will surely help our teachers to develop in their career. You are all welcome in the coming days too. All the participants, I am told that we have about 11 states into the FDP program, personnel, and we are happy that people have from far and wide joined us to make this FDP useful, because it becomes fruitful when we have more participants and better takeaway. Thank you once again to everyone, and all the best to the organizing education department of BSSS for having thought of such a noble idea and executing this in the coming days. Thank you, and welcome to one and all once again.
Thank you so much, Father, for your kind words. We are most happy, privileged, and honored to have the presence of our Vice Chancellor, Professor Jain. He has a wide experience of 34 and more years into the field of
Network problem.
there,
Yeah.
blessing us in this virtual program. Thank you so much, sir, for your presence. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Dear Father John Sir, my colleague, Mr. Khandaiji, all resource persons, and dear participants, those who are connecting in this FDP from 12th to 16th, 12th to 18th. First of all, I will congratulate to BSS as well as my colleague Sri Khandaiji. He organized this beautiful or very senseful FDP, and subject is really very good. Because of that, today's scenario, the subject of this FDP, qualitative and quantitative research analysis. Now, my question is definitely arise, will you really analyze? If you will really analyze, then definitely you will find something. Today's research scenario, you know, and I know also, only how we get the PhD degree. This is not the research. Research is this, that we can do something innovative, new. And this is applicable, this is utilized for our public, our society, our nation also. So many people are registered for the PhD. PhD, it's a degree, and I'm saying we are doing the research. This is not the research. I feel you do something quantitative and qualitative. Qualitative, you see what is the quality of your research. Just I'll take 2 minutes more. In these, my 35 years career, I guide, supervised 2 or 3 PhDs, but vivas of many PhDs, and I ask only one question. What is your contribution in this? What you did new something? Aapne kya naya kiya? You tell me, that's all. But nobody can say, this is my contribution. I did this, Mr. X is doing for n is equal to 2. I did for n is equal to 3. Or I did this something new, appreciable for society as well as for the nation. Sorry, nobody, sir, this is the research, I examine this, I examine that, I write this paper, this or that. So many things they told me. But still, okay. Still I awarded, I say, okay, he did something. So, okay, award the PhD. But qualitative, according to your topic, I request all of you participants as well as resource persons, you provide some guidelines, you provide something concrete. to our new researchers, to our new PhD holders. They can do some positive, and this positive things will useful to our nation, as well as our city, as well as our university, as well as self. In these words, I say your FDP will be successfully completed in this day. You enjoy this FDP. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for that words of wisdom. And as you said, what is one thing what we contribute new to the research world? And we hope that this faculty development, jointly hosted by the Department of Education at the Bhopal School of Social Sciences and the HRDC and Department of Continuing Education at Barkatullah University, will be a platform to all our budding researchers who will definitely contribute in nation building. Through the new researchers, they contribute to the new world. Thank you so much, sir, for your presence and for your words of wisdom.
If all of you permit me, I'll leave this program. Because of that, I'm busy some other place. Sorry for, I'm not continuing for further.
Sure,
so
sir. Thank you
excuse
so
me,
much.
please.
Thank you
Namaste.
so much, sir.
Sabhi ko
Thank you so much.
नमस्कार। इसका वीडियो ऑफ मत करिए, वीडियो ऑफ कर दीजिए, चलिए वीडियो ऑफ कर दीजिए, ऑडियो वीडियो दोनों ऑफ कर दीजिए।
We have had FDPs conducted previously and have had the most enlightening sessions under his guidance. Professor Hemant Khandai, Head and Dean of Department of Continuing Education of Barkatullah University, has always been a shining lamp. Sir, I would request you to please come and say a few words.
Thank you very much for giving an opportunity to share with you, Adrika. And at the outset, I convey my best regards to my Honorable Vice Chancellor, who is the key center of our university, who is running in a development way and with a positive and successful way. Now, I convey my regards to Honorable Principal Professor Jan Sahab, BSS, who is leading and the son of this institution, they raise lights to the universe and India also. Really, it is a great pleasure to share with you all that Sina is a very dynamic lady who is continuously doing and effortlessly doing how that education department of BSS college will grow like a tree, and where the number of students and research scholars sit under this tree and feel peace and development and feel something unique under this tree. Really, I congratulate the effort taken by the blessing of Father John, and really thanks to Sina and her team. Now the question arises, already VC have already given his sensitiveness regarding the analysis of quantitative or qualitative research, what presently doing, and really it is a matter of great unfortunate that people are doing research and taking the degree without knowing anything. That I have already crossed over near about 200 PhD in education last 10 years here. Just I know, and every PhD viva as conducting in my department, I was a witness of these things. Sometimes a few students are very remarkable and some students are very substantive. We cannot say that what is going on. This is not wrong with that students or research scholars, wrong with our systems, wrong with our teachers, wrong with our experts who are doing and giving guidance to our students. This is the matter that you are taking in the present relevant topic of how the quantitative and qualitative research. Research means both we can do analysis through quantitative and qualitative. I may use the both language, that means Hindi and English, as you are working in Hindi belt. So it is my request that I may be allowed to use the Hindi and English language by giving a story in Hindi about the quantitative and qualitative. Then you can say evaluate. सपोज मैं एक उदाहरण देकर बताना चाहता हूँ, गांव में रहने वाला हम हो और गांव में नया नया बहू आया है, जस्ट बहू आया है और सासू बहुत पुरानी है, बहू आया बहुत बड़ी क्वालिफाइड है, लेकिन बहू और नेचुरली जो बड़ा पढ़ा लिखा लेको और अनपढ़ गांव की है, देन मैचिंग नहीं हो रहा था, मैचिंग नहीं तो दोनों का सेट नहीं हो रहा था, दोनों का विचार नहीं जोड़ रहा था, जो ऑटोमेटिकली द डिफरेंस अराइज एंड एवरी टाइम quarrel each other, सास और बहू दोनों को झगड़ा लग रहा था. The somewhere passer by my villagers are telling that जब सासू is always quarreling with that बहू, and बहू is very पढ़ा लिखा है और educated है, जो अनपढ़ है इसलिए स्त्री से कर रहा है. Number of times the passerby remarked to the सासू, who is very culprit is the main culprit is the सासू. But ये man of research bent mind, he wanted to know what is the real cause, whether sasu or bahu is a cause of this problem. Once he go to the roof of the another's house and watch the whole episode of sasu or bahu, and bahu is very cunning and very educated, और सासू बेचारा बहुत माने गरीब माने सॉरी जो अनपढ़ है थोड़ा से अपनी स्टैंडर्ड में रहता है. बहू हमेशा इंस्टिगेट करता था कि इस पर जो बात हो रहा था इंस्टिगेट करता इसको ज्यादा से ज्यादा चिल्लाए, बहू ज्यादा से ज्यादा सॉरी सासू बहुत ज्यादा से ज्यादा चिल्लाए, बहू चुपचाप रहे. इस तरह से कंटिन्यूस 2-4 माने ऑब्जर्व करने के बाद पता लगा कि बहू बहुत ही परेशान करता है सासू को, और सासू ऑटोमेटिकली देयर इज नो वे to break his mouth, बहुत चिल्ला चिल्ला कर बात करता है. Now the question arises that qualitative इसीलिए हम बोल रहे हैं कि अब क्वांटिटी की बात आ रहा है कि इतना लोग गए थे साथ में और रास्ता में घूम रहे थे, बोल रहे थे सासू का 5 बार मैं सुना, 10 बार सुना, पर नंबर इज कंसर्न्ड अबाउट द क्वांटिटेटिव. तो सासू इज ब्लेम्ड फॉर दिस प्रॉब्लम बिटवीन द सासू एंड बहू. लेकिन वो आदमी जो रिसर्च बैंड के माइंड था वो जाकर ऊपर छत के ऊपर देखा, वो जो माने बहू ने बहुत इंस्टिगेट करता है, परेशान करता है, वो बेचारा इसका पास कोई है नहीं जो बात किया. लेकिन यहाँ पे प्रमाण होता है, अगर क्वांटिटी बोलते तो सासू ब्लेम हो गया, लेकिन क्वालिटेटिव बात करते तो ओरिजिनल कॉज आ रहा है कि बहू इज द मेन कल्प्रिट, क्योंकि बेचारा तो चल रहा था, काम कर रहा था घर में, ये इंस्टिगेट करके इस तरह से परेशान करता था, टॉन्टिंग करता था, कुछ पीट देता था, इसको बाहर को आवाज नहीं जाता था, बाहर को शब्द सुनाई नहीं देता था, जिस कारण से एक्सपोज नहीं होता था बहू, जिस कारण से और बहू सेफ जोन में जाता था, उसका गुड इमेज बनता था. लेकिन सासू व बेचारा ब्लेम होता था, सबके सामने बदनाम हो रहा था. लेकिन हम आगे रिसर्चर हम सोचेंगे क्वांटिटेटिव अगर लेंगे हम तो बोलेंगे सासू खराब है, अगर क्वालिटेटिव लेंगे तो निश्चित रूप से हम बहू को ब्लेम करेंगे, क्योंकि क्वालिटेटिव यही है, इसमें नंबर हम नहीं देखा, लेकिन इसका एटीट्यूड देखा, इसका बिहेवियर देखा, इसका वे ऑफ टॉकिंग देखा, वे ऑफ एक्शन टुवर्ड्स द बहू को देखा. निश्चित रूप से हम यहाँ पे नहीं बोल सकते कि क्वांटिटी के माध्यम से हम डाटा को कलेक्शन. नो डाउट क्वांटिटी एंड क्वालिटी बोथ रेस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर गिविंग ए रिजल्ट फॉर रिसर्च. सो हम यहाँ बात कर सकते हैं कि हम बहुत बड़ा विद्वान है, मिश्रा जी के बारे में बताएंगे, लेकिन ये हमको ध्यान देना पड़ेगा आज की डेट में जो रिसर्च स्कॉलर है और रिसर्च कर रहा है, वन साइडेड थिंकिंग होगा तो हमको निश्चित बायस्ड रिजल्ट विल गेट. इफ विल यूज द मल्टी मेथड्स so I don't cooperation will help to reach a beautiful result by giving the expert lecture.
मीटिंग चल रही है.
So I don't want to take more time, and thanks to Professor Jain Saab, who is the head of the institution of the BSS college, and my colleague, you can say that Sena and Adiraj, and all the teams who is responsible conducting the beautiful program and connecting the 12 states in this platform. I congratulate from the department and university to experts Urdan ji and BSS principal ji. Again, thank you all and wish you best of luck and go ahead. Please, thank you.
Thank you so much for your kind words, sir. The FDP focuses on enabling the participants to define research problem and select suitable research design. to impart capabilities for formulation and testing of hypotheses based on the nature of research, to comprehend appropriateness of statistical software packages N-vivo for data analysis and structural equation modeling, SEM, to enable the participants to draw an interpretation from the results of data analysis. To introduce us to the world of quantitative and qualitative research, we are privileged to have Dr. Rudanand Mishra. Sir is working as Additional Director, Institute of Management, Nirma University. He has more than 20 years of experience in teaching, research, and administration. He has conducted various FDP and research workshops in various organizations. His current interest includes issues related to labor market, health, and industrial economics. He has published research papers in peer-reviewed, reputed national and international journals, and also presented several papers in national and international conferences. He is life member of Indian Health Economic and Policy Association, Odisha, Economic Association, and Indian Labour Economic Society. Sir, I wholeheartedly welcome you.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank the principal of the BSS and the Professor Jain, the Vice Chancellor, and the Professor Hemant, who has given the very good story. Again, before start with the areas of the title, first I would like to thank the team of the Department of Education, BSS, and also to this particular area of the FDP. Over a period of time, people understand the research, anyone can do the research. So whether it's the PhD scholars, whether it's any of the professors, also the young professors, they think that the research is a very easy word to understand. But when I come to the various methods of the research, as well as the various strategies which is used in the research methodologies, where I found that one of the important part before selecting the any of the research is the literature. And when you talk about the literature, the major issue comes with the plagiarism. And that is one of the important when you talk about the start with any of the research. So I will not go in detail of the plagiarism, but I will introduce with the design and some basics of the qualitative and the quantitative research. Just a minute, can I share the PPT? PPT is shown?
Yes, sir.
It is visible, yeah. Okay, first start with the research. When I'm talking about the research, if someone says that the research means that we are going for the collecting the data, collecting the informations. But in a single word, when I'm talking about the research, is the searching and researching. So I'm search for something to get doing the research on that. So the research is an unbiased, structured, and sequential method of inquiry directed towards a clear, implicit, and explicit objective. So this inquiry might lead to a validating existing postulates or arrive at a new theories and the models. So over a period of time, so research is a sequential method of inquiry. So it's a structured one, it's an unbiased. When you talk about the research, we use the word structured or conducting the structured research. But in the various designs or the various methods, there are the unstructured also. So when talk about the unstructured, which is loosely structured. So that is also important when I'm collecting or when I'm designing my research. So these are the methods which is important. So the type of research, it starts with the basic research. So the basic premises need to be known. Whether you are concerned with the primarily academic in nature or in the business. So what type of research is required? That is the basic knowledge of that particular area. That is important. Another is that the applied research. So which we generally talk about the action-oriented research. So which is which is very rarely used in the academic research, but applied research or the action-oriented research are used in the business because they have to take the decision immediate basis. Another exploratory research, as I have mentioned, that the research is loosely structured, and the premise is to provide the direction to subsequent more structured method of inquiry. So when you talk about the exploratory research, it's basically talk about it's a description, or it's an area where you are exploring, and this exploratory research is used in when you are defining your research problem, because it's unstructured. There is no proper or the sequential structure, so anyone can going for the informal way to collect the information. So that is where for the next level of the research, the requirement of the unstructured to collect the information for the structured method. Another is the conclusive research, which we talk about. The research is a structure and defined in the orientation. So these type of research are usually conducted in the validate, the formulate hypothesis and specific relations. So it's a conclusive research. It shows the causal relation between the variables, where we want to show the variable relationship. So that is the important where the conclusive research are used. It's a simple differentiation between the conclusive and the exploratory research. So that is loosely structured in design, and conclusive is the well-structured and systematic in design. Exploratory, that is, are flexible and investigative in method. Conclusive have a formal and definite method that need to be followed and tested. Do not involve testing of hypothesis. When you talk about the exploratory research, we don't involve the testing of the hypothesis. It's the exploratory is the base for the conclusive research. So most conclusive research are carried out to test the formulated hypothesis. And in exploratory, the findings might be topic specific and might not have much relevance outside the researcher's domain. But when you talk about the conclusive, findings are significant as they have a theoretical and applied implications. In the conclusive research, there are two different types of research which we talk about: descriptive research. The main goal of this type of research is to describe the data and characteristic about what is being studied. So when you are describing something, and when you talk about the data collected, the characteristics, that we talk about the description of the situation or the character of the various element of the population. So that we talk about the describing the research. Causal research, it shows that the relationship between the one or more variables on the other, and with the reasonable level of certainty by the controlling the impact of the other variables. So it's a causal relation between the two variables or more than two variables, which we talk about over a period of time in the statistics, that is the bivariate and the multivariate. Qualitative and quantitative, it can be used to explore the describe or understand the reason for a certain phenomenon. When we talk about the qualitative. Now, before moving to the other slides, I just want to know, before going to the other slides, from the participant, what is qualitative? What do you understand by the qualitative? Anyone can.
Sir, may I? Sir, may I?
Please.
Sir, qualitative research is the research that is like being done on the some characteristics, some features of the particular group, like emotions, their behavior.
Okay.
And quantitative, it means be like that can be measured.
That is in numbers.
Numerical. Yeah, in numbers. Yeah.
When I'm talking about the qualitative, the major important part when you talk about the collection of data is the human brain. Right? You are collecting the data from the population, where you are talking about the emotion, behavior, attitude. So that talk about the human brains. and that is the one of the important source of the data, right? So again, I will go to the slides. So, for example, to understand what a low-cost car means to an Indian consumers, this kind of investigation would require the type of the qualitative research. Because when I am talking about the understand what a low-cost car means to the Indian customer, it means that over a period of time, we are finding out the attitude, behavior, and the various aspects of the belief of the consumer about the low cost cars, right? When I'm talking about the quantitative research, when the data to be studied need to be qualified and subjected to a suitable analysis in order to generalize the findings of the population at large. So when you talk about the quantitative, the data is already which is available to you. That is in the numbers, and that numbers you can easily, like this FDP talk about the qualitative and the quantitative. Again, in the qualitative, the analysis is very difficult. Difficult in the sense because most of the data comes in the textual form, whereas when you talk about the quantitative, the most of the data comes in the number. So it is easier for the researcher to play with the numbers than the test. So that is the way where when you talk about the qualitative and the quantitative research. Now, when I'm talking about the research, there is a process. Without that process, you cannot proceed with any kind of the research. So first and the foremost important thing is that what type of research to be conducted, whether it's a basic or applied. In the academic, in the management field, in the education, everywhere. Start with the basic or the applied, right? Now, when you have decided go for the basic or the applied, the first and the foremost important thing is that defining the research problem. Again, the various people think that when I'm talking about the problem, it's a negative word. Why I will go for the problem? But without defining any problem or any of the research problem, you are not able to conduct any of the research. So you have to define. So how you will define the research problem? There are the various ways. One with when you talk about the defining research problem, first and the foremost, literature review. The review of literature is the important. When the literature are there, you will find that what are the gaps. There are the experts. The experts talk about your research area or theme, on what basis you can conduct your study. There are the various academic experts are there. They talk about the what type of problems in that particular area, what are the gaps. So that is important when you are defining any of the problems. Without problem, you cannot move forward. So that is over a period of time, people think that the research problem, it's a very negative word. It's a negative word. Problem means there are some problems. That's why the people are working on that. No, it start with any of the research. Whether it's you talk about the research problem or rationality of the study or need of the study, that we talk about the research problem. The second important thing is that the formulation of the hypothesis. How you can formulate the hypothesis. So what all of you are from the faculty from the different areas and different different domains. What do you understand by the hypothesis?
Sir, assumptions?
Assumptions.
Yes, that is assumption.
Tentative statement in which we are
solution, sir.
find
Yes.
something.
So that is assumptions are there. I'm assuming that there is a positive relationship between the income and the age. I'm assuming that I have formulated this hypothesis on the basis of the problems which I have found. But over a period of time, that is the thing that when you start working on your research or your research paper or research proposals or your thesis, you will find that the hypotheses are changed, depend on your data set. So hypothesis, you have assumed that thing. Assumptions are there. There are assumptions which is to be proved. I remember as a student of the economics, I remember there is a Malthusian population theory is there. Accepted this theory. Nowadays, this theory is accepted. When you talk about the increase in the population, automatically it will be preventive checks are there and positive checks are there. Preventive checks talk about the natural calamities, various other things, and positive, that is through which the government is created awareness among the population. So that theories are now applicable, but that is, they have assumed that thing. On the basis of the assumption, they talk about this theory is to be proved. But that theory proves over a period of time. So as the Professor Jain talked about that what is new you are doing, what is the invention, what type of the difference you have done in your thesis or in your research, what is the uniqueness, and that uniqueness is important when you talk about the research. So that's why when you're taking the hypothesis, you have to be very clear that how you can take the assumptions. On that basis, you can prove which you want to prove as some different inventions. I will give you the very good example of that. I have taken the hypothesis that the labor migration depend on the various aspects or various independent variables, and I have collected that first labor migration model by the Michael Todaro. In 1969, he has published in the American Economy Journal, right? So that may be the seventh volume. I remember that. So in that paper, he has used the various variables to prove that the migrations are the labor migrations are more among the people having the low income or the various other factors. When I conducted the study, and I have found that in my data, 95% of the laborers are migrant. And if I try to prove that theory, I have taken the same hypothesis, but my variables are very, very, very different. And I have get the unique model that the labor migration based on the various other factors, which is not generally used by the labor migrants or the labor researchers. So the hypothesis you have to set in that manner that you can prove, you are trying to prove, so that you have a uniqueness in that. Now, when we come up with your hypothesis, the next step which talk about the proposal. Now the question comes, sir, proposal abhi kya zarurat hai? Here, when you talk about the proposal, that is the plan of your research. How you will plan your research, how you will conduct your research, what are the methods you will conduct the research, how much time you will spend on the literature review, how much time you will spend on the field work, how much time you will spend on the different areas like data editing or the report writing, that thing. So that proposals must be clear in your mind. I have seen that there are the PhD scholars, and they complete their PhD in the 10 years, 8 years, 7 years, because they don't have that plan how to conduct that research. Nowadays, it is okay. I understand that there is a coursework, but before starting with the coursework, there is no coursework. Still, they have to prepare their proposal and submit to the university. But over a period of time, when they submit the proposal, they don't have the plan of their conducting their research. So if you have a planned your research, accordingly, you can complete your PhD or the research on time. That's why every funding agency talk about the budget and the timeline. So timeline is important to complete your process of research. How much time you will conduct to collect the data, to collect the information, literature review, your data coding, decoding, analysis, report writing. So everything will be done on the some framework is required, and that framework is important so that you have a timeline to complete that. Right. Next, with the research design, as it is already mentioned that I have talked about the research design, whether descriptive, exploratory, and here some of my student asked one question, sir, दो research design एक साथ हो सकते हैं क्या? So I said that yes, क्यों नहीं हो सकते? Because most of the research talk about the descriptive as well as the exploratory or as well as the conclusive. When I'm defining my research problem, I'm using the exploratory research because I have to collect the secondary data, and that is in an informal way, not in the formal way. So I have to go for the pilot survey to find out whether there is any issues or any problems in this particular area of research. So the research design may be used, the research design can be used in a one frame or the one research work also, right? Now, again, the data collection plan, none of the research is complete with the data collection, whether it's a primary or secondary. If you are working on the primary data, still you have to work on the secondary data also. Without secondary data, your primary study or your study is not complete. So you have to work on the both type of data, primary as well as the secondary. When talk about the primary data, what type of instrument you will use? Generally, we use the questionnaire, structured questionnaire. When talk about the structured questionnaire, so it may be over a period of time. We talk about the close-ended questions or open-ended questions. So instruments are there. So whether it's a self-administered or it's a survey method or the method in which you are collecting the information, right? In the survey method, there are the various methods also. When you talk about the questionnaire, that is the interview method is there, email. Nowadays, the technology comes, Google Forms are there to collect the information. But when I'm selecting the data or conducting the primary study, in that when I'm talking about the questionnaire, in the questionnaire, the first thing is that when I prepare the questionnaire, I have to conduct the pilot survey. Now the question comes, sir, pilot survey ki kya zarurat hai? But pilot survey is important because when I'm talking about the collecting the information from the informal sector. So informal sector, when you talk about, if you have a pilot survey, you will finalize your questionnaire. If your questionnaire is not finalized, you will not find the same labor or same worker again and again to get the information. So if the questionnaire is final, then you can collect the data from that particular worker or the labor or because I'm talking about the informal sector. In the informal setup, you will not get the same worker in that particular place. That is the one thing. Again, when you talk about the data collection, simultaneously the sampling plan is required. What type of sampling plan and why the sampling plan is used? This type of sampling plan is used because generally the nowadays I have seen in the most of the PhD scholars, they are using the non-probability sampling, and very rarely I have seen that the probability sampling to be used. But when I'm using the probability sampling or non-probability sampling, you have to very clear that why you are using this particular sampling method to collect the information. Because if you are not clear, your data goes on bias. So you have to be very clear in that, right? Again, when talk about the sampling and the data collection plan, now the data collection. Here, one important thing is that nowadays the people talk about collecting the data through the agencies. When I'm collecting through the agencies, I don't know what is the accuracy of the data. So if you are collecting the data, you know what is happening in the field. So with your field investigator, you have to be there. Data के लिए आपको खाक छाननी पड़ेगी, because then only you will get the data. Otherwise, you will not get the data. It's a live example with me. I have collected the data for the same location for 3 times in 2003-04, in 2014-15, and 2018-19. And I have got the very different or the variation in the data. Right? Because I am working in the one of the area which is rarely used by the researcher, generally used by the worked by the ILO, International Labour Organization, that is on the ship recycling industry. And in India, we have the largest ship recycling industry. So I have worked in that basically on the labor part. So collecting the data from the labor, it is very difficult. Very difficult. So in the first month, I will not get any response from the labor. So they are not ready to give you any data. But I understand the field in that 1 month. When I went again next time, so I have spent 2 months there to collect the data, and I have gone with my 2 investigators, one from the that is the UP, another from the Bihar and the Jharkhand. So we have the laborers or the workers from the Orissa, Bihar, Jharkhand, and UP majorly. So we 3 has covered the major areas in different manner, because as I am from Orissa, so Oriya laborers I have covered. He is from UP, he has covered the UP laborers. Same way the other investigator, he has covered the Bihar laborers. Because collecting the information from the different informal setup is very difficult. In the formal setup, you will get the data. But there are some sensitive data which is not provided by in the formal setup also. Right? Now, after the data collection, the important thing is the refining and preparation of the data. So data you have collected. You have collected the data and you have completed with the data collection method. But now the work is more, because you have to refine the data. I have found that when I am doing any of the research, I have found that in my data there are the questionnaire where it is incomplete. So that data is not valid for my research. In that case, again, I have to go and collect the data. So when I'm collecting the data, suppose I have to collect the 300 sample size, and I have created the stata, different stata I have created to collect the data. So I will collect the data from the 350 samples, so that after the filtration, I will get only 300. I know very well, because there are the questionnaire where you will not get the full information. So because some of the sensitive questions which the workers or the what we call that the blue collar employees, they are not ready to give you, and which we talk about the loaded question or the leading questions. So sensitive questions, it's very difficult to get the data. So in that case, we have to be very clear in mind that your data collection, if sample size is 300, you have to collect more than that, because after filtration of data, you will get only 300, and that is happened. That I have seen in the formal sector as well as the informal sector. Because I worked in one of the major area of the government, that is on the Central 6 Pay Commission. That talk about the performance related pay in government. So we have covered 2 different ministries, that is Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Company Affairs. They are not ready to give their data, because they thought that if I will give the data, it will be over a period of time, it will impact that particular person. Because we are doing the study on behalf of the government of India. But they are the person like income tax department. They don't want to give their actually, when I'm talking about the particular person like OS, office superintendent, what is the role, how much work they have done, how much the time they take to complete a file or process a file. So these type of information they are not ready to give, because they think that it will impact them over a period of time, because it will be reported to their seniors. So somewhere the getting the data is very difficult. So the refining data, in that case, you have to refine your data, because you will not get, every time you will not get the complete data or the complete questionnaire to be filled by the respondent. So that is the one way. Another, data analysis and interpretation. Again, it's my opinion, over a period of time I have seen that on the statistical softwares are available in the market, right? Whether it's SPSS, N-vivo, eViews, Stata, there are so many. If I will give the independent variable and the dependent variables, number of dependent variables are there, it will give you the result. So you will get the data, the result in your very easily in window base, right? But the important part when you talk about the data analysis is the interpretation. People don't understand that the sir hum to SPSS mein kar liya humne, but how you get the more clarity on your problem of the study. When I'm talking about the descriptive research design, are more structured and formal in nature. As the name implies, that the objective of these studies is to provide comparative and detailed explanation of the phenomena under the study. So here in the descriptive, it's a formal in nature. But the objective of this study is to provide the comparative and the detailed explanation of the phenomena under the study. Right? Exploratory research design, when you talk about the exploratory research design, there are some methods where you can collect the data. That is the secondary resource analysis. The secondary resource analysis of the data gives the information in terms of the detail of the previously collected findings in the facts and the figures, which has been authenticated and published, which we talk about the secondary data or secondary resources, right? So it will add the advantage to your secondary data also. It is already collected the findings and the facts, and that you are using for preparing your research problem. Another method, that is the case study method or case method. The case study, it's an in-depth study and focused on a single unit. The unit of analysis is single, whether it's an individual, whether it's a company, right? Whether it's a cluster. So it's a single unit to be studied, and that is in-depth study. So majority of the B schools talk about the case study method in their teaching, and that is important because over a period of time that will give the idea for the researcher about that particular area in depth, so that they can prepare their the problem or the study for the future in that manner. Expert opinions, and that is very useful. So the valuable insight obtained from the experts, which might be based on their experience in the field or based on academic work done on the concepts. So expert opinions are there, and these expert opinions, when I'm talking about these expert opinions, you call the two experts and you take the opinion, that is okay, fine, that we are generally doing. But expert opinion, when you talk about one of the important area of collecting the expert opinion is the various conferences, seminar, and the symposiums, where the number of experts are there, where you can discuss on your area to get the familiarity about that particular area of study. Next, with the focus group discussion, a carefully selected representative subset of a large respondent gather to discuss together in short frame and the subject and topic to be investigated. When I'm talking about the focus group discussion, the size of the group is not more than 6 to 10 members. If the more than 10 members, it will create the confusion among the investigator also. So this is the one of the area, or when one of the way to collect the exploratory research or the exploratory data on the basis of the putting a particular area of your study or problem in front of the group of 6 to 10 people or 10 respondent, and they will discuss on that particular area to get and as an investigator, we are recording every moment of that particular discussion, and that will give you the data for you. In descriptive research design, there is a cross-sectional research design. There are 2 criteria: carried out at a single moment in time. Therefore, the applicability is more relevant for a specific period. So it's basically for the specific period. It's carried out a particular period. Now, for example, I have put it here, a cross-sectional study on the attitude of Americans towards the Asian Americans pre and the post 9/11 was vastly different, and a study is done in 2011 would reveal a different attitude and behavior towards the population. So a specific period is taken, that is the pre and the post. So that is carried out in a single moment, and it is applicability is most relevant for a specific period. Second, these studies are carried out on a section of the respondent from the population unit under study. For example, the organizational employees, voters, consumers, industry sectors, and this sample is under consideration and under investigation only for the time coordinated for this study. So a particular time that these respondents or the population units are taken for this study. So these studies are carried out in a particular manner where you are taking only the section, that is the unit under study, the population units, whether it's an organization, whether it's a voters, group of voters, the consumers, industry sectors, or the companies. So that depends. So how you are conducting the cross-sectional study. There are situations in which the population is not homogeneous nature, and there is a divergence in the character under study. Thus, it becomes important to study the sub-segment independently. So this variation of design is termed as a multi-sectional study, and this multi-sample analysis is carried out at the same moment in time. So as we all know that the population is not a homogeneous, you will find that the diverse characters are in the population, and if you have selected the 100 or 1000 respondent, you will find that there are the diverse character in the all 1000 respondents. So it is very important to study the sub-segment independently. So the sub-segment, you have to create the clusters, groups, and as a multiple cross-sectional study. So this multi-sample analysis is carried out at a particular moment or a same moment in the time. If you are conducting for the 5 groups, cross-sectional study for the 5 groups, then you have to, if you are conducting today at 4 to 5 p.m., so in the same moment you have to collect from the all 5 groups, right? Longitudinal study, a single sample of the identified population that is studied over a stretch of period is termed as a longitudinal study. So it is not a single period, it's over a period of time. Over a period of time, that is the stretch of the period of the time. Suppose I'm conducting a study on the population, and I have selected every quarter. Every quarter I will collect the data. That is the stretch over a period of time. Collect the data. There are 3 different criteria. The study involves selection of a representative panel or a group of individuals that typically represent the population under study. There are repeated measurement of the group over the fixed interval of time, and this measurement is specifically made for the variable under study. once the sample is selected, it needs to stay constant over the period of time. Right? The panel members remain same, and composition need to be stay constant over the study period. Now, suppose you have selected a society. In that society, there are A, B, C, D, E, F blocks are there. And you are conducting study on these blocks quarterly. If you have selected the sample from the block A, block B, and block C, the same sample you have to use in the every quarter. Then only you will get the data for over a period of time in this area. This is with the exploratory and the descriptive research. I will go very quickly to the qualitative research and the quantitative research. I will not go in detail. Qualitative research is collecting, analyzing, and interpreting the data by observing what people do and say. It is a very simple understanding when you talk about the qualitative research. We are collecting the data, analyzing the data, interpreting the data by observing the people, what the people do and what they say. When I'm talking about the qualitative research, refers to meanings, concepts, definitions, characteristics, metaphors, symbols, descriptions of the things, all. So qualitative, it talks about everything. There are concepts, there are definitions, characters, symbols, everything is there. So in this method, the qualitative data or the research is conducted. So qualitative research is subjective. All of us know that the qualitative research is subjective. The uses very different method of collecting the information, and including individual, in-depth interview, and focus group. These are the way where the data is collected. And the nature of this type of research is the exploratory and open-ended. So qualitative, it's open-ended. Nature is open-ended because here exploratory, that is loosely structured because you are collecting the subjective data in the form of the interviews, in the form of the focus group discussion, or collecting from the individual. So it's loosely structured. Strength, when I'm talking about the qualitative, good for the examining feeling and the motivations. Allows for the complexity and depth of issues. Provide insight into the real life situations. So these are the strength of the qualitative research. Weakness, cannot extrapolate to the whole population. You cannot generalize for the whole population. Right? Data, the volume of data is large. Analysis, the complexity in the analysis also. Yes, it's a time consuming. It's a time consuming method of research. So obviously you have to think on whether you are using the qualitative or the quantitative. And if you are using the qualitative, you have to be very, very clear that you will get the time required to collect the data, and the various the methods to analyze is required. The more time is required as compared to the quantitative. These are the different type of the qualitative research. So over a period of time, I have detailed out each one, but it is not now to discuss everything. So it's talk about the basic interpretative qualitative research. Phenomena, various phenomena are there. That on this study, grounded theories are there. On the basis of that also we can collect the information or the data. Case study, which we have discussed. Ethnographic studies, which generally done in the philosophy and the psychology. Narrative studies or analysis, that is which we talk about the narrations or the storytelling. That is also one of the way to collect the qualitative research data. Critical qualitative research, critics on the various research already done. That is also one of the way to collect the data. And the postmodern research. I will talk about the postmodern research. This research that challenged the form and the category of the traditional qualitative analysis. So we have talked about the various other methods, and this challenge that. The postmodern perspective involves the questioning certainties, assumptions in the world, include the nature of the truth, ability of the research and science to discover this truth and generalize and the typology. So over a period of time, there is another way of conducting the qualitative research. There are some backgrounds are there on the qualitative research, which is important. Get over the idea that the research means counting. So when I'm talking about the quantitative method, we focus more is on the countings, numbers. So over a period of time, qualitative don't talk about the numbers. It's a subjective in nature. So the focus is on the subjective experience and meaning that the people use. Because meaning reside in the language, the qualitative research largely involved the studying the text. And the best device for collecting and analyzing the qualitative information is the human brains. Human brain is one of the important way for the collecting and analyzing the qualitative informations. Now the quantitative research. Quantitative research is an inquiry into an identified problem based on the testing a theory, measure with the numbers and analyze with the statistical techniques. So the goal of quantitative method is to determine whether the predictive generalization of the theory hold true. So it's a very simple understanding when you talk about the qualitative and the quantitative research. But conducting this research, it is difficult. And if you say that, sir, qualitative is good or quantitative is good, both are good. Both are the good method to conduct the research. But that depends on the researcher's need. What type of research they are doing, what type of problem of their study, what are their objectives. So on that basis, we talk about the quantitative or the qualitative research. I will not go in detail because already we have time. Again, there is the frameworks are there. I will just go back to this analytical objectives to quantify the variation, to describe the variation, to predict the causal relation, to describe explain the relationships. So it's in the quantitative, you are quantifying the variation. Here you are describing the variation. This in the quantitative, you are predicting the causal relation. But in the qualitative, you are describing and explain the relation. In quantitative, to describe characteristics of a population. And here you are describing group norms. The question formats, yes. In the quantitative, it is close-ended, and in the qualitative, it is open-ended. Data format, here in the quantitative, that is numerical. When you talk about the qualitative, that is the textual. So these are the way where the research, the qualitative and the quantitative research are conducted. I think I have on time. Yes, anything to...
Dear participants, you can unmute for any questions, or you can put the questions in the chat box. We'll be happy to take your questions forward.
Hello, sir. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hi, sir. This is Dr. Shalu Kotwani from Indore.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, I'm I have a keen research. I have an interest in the primary sort of data. So obviously for primary data, I always make a structured questionnaire. But what problem I am facing that the less respondents are I am receiving very less respondents. So is there any idea to increase the respondents number? Because obviously my theme core area is finance only.
Okay.
So whenever I'm doing research, so it will be related with the stock market investors' perception or any type of investors' perception. But the main problem is that the less respondents, the less number of respondents.
So your area is the consumer research generally.
Yes,
because,
sir, kind of.
Yeah, because when you talk about the investment prospect or the investment pattern, you have to find out the first and the foremost is that you have to first create the groups, whether in terms of the income group whether in terms of the education, right? So
Yes, sir.
then only you can divide your sample in that manner. First thing. Second thing, somewhere you will not get the data in particular areas, right?
Yes, sir.
So you have to very clear that from where you have collecting the data. Like stock market brokers are there,
Okay.
right? There are stock the agencies are there. They are talking about the stock. So you have to first collect the participants.
Okay.
Who are the participants in the stock market first? So that data you have to collect. Then only you will get the idea that whether you can collect the data from these participants or not.
So, is there any particular website or online mode through which we can explore more areas in which through which we can collect more and more data?
The primary data, for the primary data you have to visit. That is the important thing. When you
Yes,
talk about
sir.
the secondary data, yes, there are the stock market links are there.
Yes, sir. Like right now, I'm using Money Control and this type of websites to collect the data.
One important is the Bloomberg terminal.
Sir, Bloom?
Bloomberg.
Okay. Okay.
Bloomberg terminal, you will get the data for last 50 years.
Thank you so much, sir.
So that is the one of the ways where you can collect the data.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Mr. Pramod, please go ahead with the question. Mr. Pramod Chaube, am I audible? You can please unmute to ask your question. Okay. However, so there is a question by Charu Maheshwari.
I'm looking at in the chat.
Yes.
Yes. I think Charu Maheshwari, she asked that is the convenient sampling totally biased? Is it not useful to generalize the result? No, it's not always biased. That depends on the sample size. That depends on your area of study. So if your geographical area is very wide, yes, it goes on bias. But your geographical area is not very large. So you know the sample. So the small sample, the biasness is less. When the more sample, yes, biasness is more. So convenient sampling, it's not totally biased. Because convenient sampling, here one important thing is that the convenient sampling, always we think that I will collect the data from my relative, my friends, my colleagues. And in that case, what happened? To give you the positive impact. So they give the positive response to the various questions. And that will gives you the biasness in your data, but not in always. So if you are selecting your sample, whether it's a convenient, but you are selecting the sample from the different groups, you will get the data which is not biased, unbiased there. Venkat Rao, sir, how to develop theories through the qualitative research? Yes, there are the way to go for the theories. When you talk about we have just discussed about this thing. There are methods of the collecting. When talk about the theories, the case studies are done. The case study methods are done on the basis of the grounded theories. You are creating the various theories or the various implementation of the theories. Because when I thought of the creating the labor migration model, and I have found that the Michael Todero's model are used by the various authors, various good authors, good economists, good labor economists. But in my study, it is so totally different. So I have found that it's very different in the sense that the variables are totally changed. And now my model is used in the current research of labor migration. So you can use the qualitative research to develop the various theories. And that's why I have shown in the PPT, there are the various methods or the type of qualitative research. Case studies are there to prepare the theories or to develop the theories based on the previously created the various theories. You can develop your theory. So that there are the various way where you can collect or where you can go for the theories. What are the different in hypothesis development in the qualitative and quantitative research? When talk about the hypothesis, as we have just discussed in the previously, that is the assumptions. In the quantitative, yes, you can assume that thing. But what about in the qualitative? The assumptions, the based of the assumption is based on your information. And informations are based on the human brains. And when you talk about the human brain, their attitude, their beliefs, their behaviors are different in each respondent, right? So hypothesis, when you are developing the hypothesis in the qualitative research, it is required first with the backup with your informations or the information or the data which you have collected from the field. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, basic interpretative qualitative study can be used when an instructor is interested in how student making meaning of a situation or a phenomenon. So it uses inductive strategy, collecting data from interviews, observations, or document analysis. And when I'm doing the interpretative qualitative research, so it means that I'm analyzing a pattern or a common theme. Pattern or common theme. On the basis of that, I'm describing or creating my literature or references to the literature that help to frame my study. So here important thing is that the interpretative, that is instructor is, as an instructor, I'm interested to know about in this particular situation what the students think, what what is their response in this particular situation. So using an inductive strategy, collecting data from the interviews, observations, or the document analysis, that is important when you are talking about any of the creating any of the situation or resulting the situation, and that is based on the common theme. That is the difference when you talk about the other. There are the other methods. You can go through the slides. I have already sent to the slides, so you can go through that, where you will find that the differences are there.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an engaging session. The first in line on qualitative and quantitative research. I think the lot of doubts by the participant itself is a clear indicator of an engaging session. And on behalf of the organizing team, the Bhopal School of Social Sciences, and all my colleagues at the Bhopal School of Social Sciences, the students of the Edu Club, I offer a big thank you to you for the introductory session. Thank you so much,
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Hope we will continue the collaboration, and we will have many more sessions by you. Thank you so much. And thank you, participants. Tomorrow, again, we'll be joining the same time, 3 o'clock sharp. And please be joining sharp by 2:50, say. Join only through laptop or your systems. We will be sharing the transcripts because for the next 3 days, we will be having qualitative analysis by N-vivo. So kindly be ready. We'll be sharing all the details today itself. So if there are some download free to use versions, so please try that you download the softwares today itself. However, we'll be having as the instructor, Dr. Sahil Gupta from Delhi, who would be the facilitator for the 3-day sessions. So we hope to see you all tomorrow, and the feedback link has already been shared. Just scroll up the chat box, you would find it there. So we hope that the engagement continues and the learning continues for the next 6 days. Thank you once and all. Thank you.
Thank you, and all the best for all the participants, and keep attending this type of FDP so that it will enrich your area of research. Thank you.
With this, we officially close the session for today. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.